So our first speaker of this evening is Diana. She's a wonderful sister from the Netherlands. She left the Watchtower, but she continues, like Shelley the other night, to be a Jehovah's Witness and witness for Jehovah. Diana has a real heart for those leaving or who have left. She's a great encourager, as you know, those of you who know Diana, she's very encouraging. And tonight, Diana and myself are going to be having a discussion. She's going to be sharing stories of real people. Some of the names will be left off. Others have given her permission to share their first name, who left the Watchtower and why they left. And some of the people have had to sacrifice a lot in their lives. And so she's going to share that too. We have a twofold purpose here. We want those that are maybe still in and questioning things or thinking about leaving to know that there are people outside there that have gone through some of the same things, that have asked the same questions. And we also want to make those who have not been a Jehovah's Witness a little bit more aware of what they really go through, because those of us who have not been a part of that organization, if you saw something not true in your church, somebody preaching something that wasn't true, most of us would say, well, why don't you just leave then? Just get up and leave. But it's not that easy. And so as Shelley shared the other night, that helps us understand a little bit more. And as Diana's going to share as well. Diana, I am going to be bringing you up right now. Hope you're ready. Welcome, my dear.
Hello.
Thank you for staying up. You're up. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning over in Holland.
Yes, almost.
Almost? Oh, yeah, we have got about 10. It's about 10:02 right now. So, but yeah, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate all you do. I know Lorene appreciates your help with Simply Christian and the work that you do there. And yes, hello to everyone. You also host an Exodus group for those who have left high control religion like the Watchtower. And before we get started, maybe if you could just share a little bit of that. I'll put the link in the chat, how they can reach out and find more information out about that group and get connected with you and Lorene.
Well, when was this? October 2021? Was it 21? I think so. I saw Lori Jane's video and I connected with her. And first, it was I connected with her on Thursday. Friday, we had our first Zoom call. And on Saturday, I was on the first Exodus meeting. So this meeting is especially for those who leave a high control group like Watchtower is. And it's like victims sharing their stories, and we listen to them, and it helped me a great deal. So
it's not really a religious thing that you're doing at that time. It's really helping people to just deal with the trauma of what they've went through. And then as you get to know people, you're able to direct them to different Bible studies if they're interested. Is that correct?
Yes, if they like. And I'm just a listening ear, and people can tell their stories, and with each other, we listen to each other, and we can encourage each other.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great.
But we're not professionals, but...
No, just a friend.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you had asked that I play the first part of Lorene's coming out video here.
You want to do that now?
When would you like me to do it? I'm working on getting it set up here, so I'm not as good as some people in pulling things up from here and there and everywhere, but I think we'll be able to do that. Let's see here. Yeah, would you like to do that now and then get started? And
yes, of course. Yes, sure.
Because it's part of your story. What I'm going to ask you to do then is just by telling us a little bit about yourself and when you became a Jehovah's Witness and when you left and why. And I do have a link of your testimony on the webpage there. And a little bit later, I'll put it in the chat where you can, people can find that. Lorene interviewed you, and that was a real blessing. But it is at the webpage for the conference. People can find it there as well. And I really appreciate you helping out. I know Lorene's had a few issues here, and thank you so much for helping us and working out. I think you'll have just as much to share here with these stories, and it's going to be a real blessing. So let's see. And you said to play it until when?
About 3 minutes, 20 seconds.
3 minutes. Okay. If I don't stop it right, you can just tell me stop it now. Okay.
Hi, I'm Lori Jane, and I wanted to welcome you to my channel. Today is my anniversary, so I thought it would be a good day to finally do this recording that I wanted to do for quite a while. My anniversary of what? It's my anniversary of waking up. A year ago, I was in Pioneer School. Today is Saturday, so it would have been the last day of the week of Pioneer School. And about 2 years prior, or 2 days prior to the end of it, I was listening to the brother, and I had been raising my hand and answering all the questions and very excited to be there. And he said, as pioneers, we're looked up to, and we should know all of the changes, be up to date on all the changes. And I'm thinking in my head, you know, what changes? Is that Gog of Magog thing that they were talking about last month? And he said, so if you go to the website, the WOL, the Watchtower Online Library, and you type in the search box, Beliefs Clarified, you'll see all the things you should be up to date on. So I had my iPad that was connected to the internet, so I did it, Johnny on the spot, and my mouth just fell open. And I'm, the iPad, I'm scrolling. And then at the end, they put it in date order as well. So I said, I had no idea there was so much. And when I started to go in reverse date order and just start looking at things, I had this overwhelming feeling come over me. Something is wrong. And like many of you that are probably watching this video, you probably had that little voice in the back of your head when certain things were said in meetings or certain Watchtower stated things, and it didn't match up to what you really believed. I've come to learn that that's called cognitive dissonance. And I had all that, but I had successfully pushed that little voice down. But on that day, it was like everything burst through. And where moments before I was planning on pioneering another year and continuing on into the end of this system of things, I said, no, I need to take the time that I'm spending pioneering and study. I really need to understand these things because I have 4 young kids, and the oldest is 14, starting to have questions. Oh, when are you getting baptized? When are you getting baptized? I had a lady that I had as a Bible student, and I felt this weight of responsibility. Like, I need to make sure that I'm absolutely sure, because this sure doesn't seem right. That if it's God's organization and it's spirit directed, that there would be so many things to fix. It didn't measure up. So that's my waking up moment. And
Thanks, Tracy.
Yes, and thank you to Lorene as well.
Thanks, Lori.
Yeah, so Diana, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I'll jump off while you're sharing about you and how you got into the Jehovah's Witnesses, how you got out, what were the things that you questioned, and where you're at today.
Well, today I'm here. But it started when I was 15. My grandfather died, and my aunt, the younger sister of my mom, she and my uncle were already Jehovah's Witnesses, but my grandparents were a return visit of Jehovah's Witnesses from our near congregation. And so one of the brother, he held the speech, the talk. As my grandmother thought that was okay, and my mom said, "Well, go to that brother from Gorkum and tell him he can come one time and tell us where Grandpa is." So he came on a Friday evening. I was ready going to the disco, but he asked me if I could stay, and I did. My sister didn't feel like it, and my dad didn't either. But he stayed with us, with my mom and me. And, well, he never left. Well, he came back every week because that's what we wanted, my mom and I. And the first time we had Bible study, it was on a Friday evening. I said so. And on Sunday, we were already in the hall because my aunt and uncle were already going there. So that was my first engagement with the Kingdom Hall. Very friendly, nice people, of course. And after a few times of Bible study, I was really convinced that it was the truth. Yeah, they talk about the resurrection, which was a big deal for me because I didn't know what, are people going to heaven? You don't know what to think about that. But I didn't believe in the Trinity, so that what made it easier for that brother. But the resurrection really got to me because the year before we lost my cousin, who was 31, died in an accident, and lots of family died, of course. And you get answers on a lot of questions, life questions, like about the future, and you hear about the paradise. So the message of Jehovah's Witnesses is really beautiful, and especially when you're a little emotional, like my mom and I were after the funeral, during the funeral. And it's actually what we learned. We learned as Jehovah's Witnesses to tune in to people's emotions and go from there. But the first time I heard about pioneering, I really wanted to do it. But I wanted to finish school first, high school. So I did that. And I actually had a day job after school in an office, full days. But there was this nagging feeling that I needed to pioneer. And I did. I started in 1988, 1st of April. No, it's not a joke. And for about 10 years. But at the end, I got depressed. And we all know why, because I was working, I changed jobs, of course. Got working part-time, cleaning job in early morning hours and later on the day, so I could pioneer during the day. But they really were the greatest years of my life because I had so much fun, and I was doing sort of savings job, wasn't it? Saving people, trying to rescue them. And you did for God, and because you love people, you love God, Jehovah. So, and well, I got married later on, and got some part-time jobs, and like 14 years ago, I became a taxi driver, which was really great because I love driving and I love people and children, and they all get into my car, right? But through the years, I had this voice in the back of my head. Laurie Jane says this in the video. We all get that at some point, and I never felt good about the shunning. It really, I had so much trouble with that. So I just, when I engaged a person with this fellowship, I just said hello, and sometimes I hugged and kissed them. And so that was a real problem for me. And during the years, I heard about friends of mine who got sexually abused when they were young. And I had a friend who could only tell me when I already knew her for 20 years, which made a big impact on me. And a friend of mine from Scheveningen, it's a city at the coast near The Hague, she came with her family to my congregation. They moved up here, and she told me that her 4 brothers were sexually abused by the best friend of her father. And this guy was a pioneer, an anointed brother, and very esteemed. You know how Jehovah's Witnesses, they look up to people in the organization. Well, some do. I didn't, but I thought everyone's equal, right? And but her parents called the police. They did an investigation, and this brother abused over 50 children. And yeah, that was a real shock to me. But through the years, I was really, really happy with the brothers and sisters. They were really loving brothers and sisters in my congregation, and the brothers and sisters that I've met during the years. But then 2020 came along, and I was really in a high, because in 2016 we had a special convention with brothers and sisters from abroad coming over to Utrecht. And in 2019 we had an international convention in Holland, in Utrecht, and we had brothers and sisters coming over and to stay in our congregation with brothers and sisters. So I was so happy and hypnotized. And in 2020, I went into the auxiliary pioneer service again for 3 months, on March, April, and May. And then COVID hit. And in 2018, a friend of mine, a friend in England, Doreen, she called me and she said she got anointed in 2017. But the elders, they didn't believe her, and they were like sort of terrorizing her and their family. Her husband had some tasks. You know, I think he was walking with the microphone, and he could read from the Watchtower. And they had the field service, one field service at their house. So when people come to their house, and witnesses come to their house, and they have, they go out in field service. And then they would all come back, because my friend, she would make it, you know, really nice coffee, tea, and baking cookies for them. and they took it all away from them. But they didn't say why. But she found some things that the Watchtower said that the Bible didn't say. And in 2020, we got the first lockdown, and I didn't have work, but I got paid in full every month. So I had a sort of Corona vacation. And my friend and I started reading the Bible every day through WhatsApp. And well, that kind of woke us up because the Watchtower said one thing and the Bible said other things. So the circuit overseer came to our congregation, and he said in a talk in Revelations, he talked about the stars in Jesus' hands, and he said those are the elders. But the Bible doesn't say that. It says it's 7 angels, right? The 7 spirits. So that was another thing that didn't match up. And Doreen thought the hail message was awful. It doesn't say in the Bible anywhere that we're supposed to spread the hail message. And we watched some videos back, the bunker video, which was awful, and with the secret knock. And I'll tell something more about that. But I started researching the organization, and Doreen was sending me videos about narcissism. So, well, that's how we found out the Watchtower is a narcissistic cult. And I sent her a video. It's in my the research that I did, that Laurie set up. It's a video that shows 10 signs how your religion is turning into a cult or has turned into a cult. And she didn't want to look at it, but I already saw it and I said, look at it. It won't hurt. But she did, and she said, after she watched it, she immediately called me and she said, Diana, all these 10 points, they're Watchtower, we're in a cult. So, yeah, after that time, I put my screen during the meetings, I put it on black, and I start watching movies. I did something else because I couldn't watch it anymore because I knew where it was coming from now after researching all the apostate videos. And well, that's it. That's how I woke up very gradually. I got in gradually, and I got out gradually by fading. You talked about that with Shelley, Tracy. Yeah, so the shunning was a problem. All the pedophiles, and we found out Watchtower is investing, or has invested in weapon manufacturers and the big pharma and vaccine manufacturers like Merck and Pfizer. That was a problem too for us. I didn't get vaccinated, and I thought it was a problem that Watchtower was promoting it. And I remember nobody could do any voluntary work at the Kingdom Hall, but only if you were vaccinated. So this is complete idiocy, because those things are dangerous in my eyes and in many eyes, I think. But now I understand, because if they profit from it, and that's Watchtower, it's a greedy, ruthless cult that hurts people and I hope to see the end of it. And well, I put up videos on Laurie Jane's website, recaps of videos that Watchtower makes, but I rarely watch them anymore because I can't anymore. Like I can't go back ever. Can't watch the videos either anymore. Of, well, in the words of Golden Girl Dorothy Zbornak, I could vomit just looking at you. So that's how I feel about Watchtower now. But I love the people, and they're misled. They're thoroughly misled by brainwashing, and we all love the people, but Watchtower, no thanks. That was it, Tracy.
I'm here. Even though I was muted earlier, I'm still here. Thank you, Diana. Thank you for so much for sharing. And it's just encouraging to people to hear that process of how you worked through it and what drew you away from that cult, really. And we're going to discuss that a little bit more here. Just a few things here. We have looking forward to hearing you, Diana. This is Nancy. She is also a previous witness of Jehovah in association with the Watchtower, and now she is just a witness of Jehovah. Sharon sends her blessings, as does Joyce. Welcomes you, another sister on our Wednesday group. Let's see.
I don't know Joyce, I think.
Yeah, our dear Shelley, Lady Di, you look marvelous. Wow. And Tom and Tilly, they made a really good comment here. The Exodus groups are very important to those needing to connect with others that are going through the harmful exit and narcissistic high control organization, posing as Christianity. Jim asks, what do we have for escaping the Mormon system? We don't have anything. Actually, that's been an interest of mine as well. I just don't have time for everything. But I know with this Exodus group, it is for any high control group, cult. You have people that have come on from other denominations or religions that also have been affected in sort of the same way as Jehovah's Witnesses have. Is that right, Diana?
Yeah, well, they're really the same systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have well, Sharon and Robert, and I forgot her name, Michelle. They were. What was it again? What cult was that? The Armstrong.
Oh yeah. What Anthony was in too with the Worldwide Church of God.
Yes, the Armstrong cult. Yeah.
So yeah, and so it's important for people that have been in those high control groups to be able to work through that as they come out, and that we can be there to help them.
So yeah, anyone is welcome.
Their faith. Pardon me?
Anyone is welcome in the Exodus groups.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know anyone yet from
the Mormon Church. Yeah.
I put a video. It's about the differences between Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. It's also in my in the research. So
I put a link to Diana's research. It's very extensive. We also have the link there for what Lorene referred to as the Beliefs Clarified, which is the Watchtower's own thing. It's not any ExJW that put it together. But in Diana's research, I'll put that in the chat again. It's up at the top as well. She has an extensive list of all that. And let's see, Meryl says, thank you, Diana. I too am an ex-Watchtower and happy now to have found the real truth. And Shelley says that she loves the way you never sugarcoat anything. You're straight up and tell what's really happening. So tonight,
maybe that's
excuse me.
the Dutch approach. People say around the world we're very direct, but we had invaders from the Romans invaded us, Vikings, the Spanish, the French, and the Germanic tribes, and we had Spanish Inquisition, of course, and in the north of Holland or the north of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
the protest started against that, Protestants. So the Spanish invaded us and the French. Oh, I already said it. The last one were the Nazis for 5 years. So, and then we have to fight the seas and the rivers. So, yep.
This is a friend
Maybe
of yours.
a bit of
Can't
culture.
stop smiling.
Correct.
It's a blessing. So Diana, you're going to share tonight some stories about why people left. What were they thinking? What started coming up that caused them to start questioning the organization? I know when we talked the other night, you said that they keep you so busy there with this meeting, that meeting, you have to do this, you have to do that. You really don't have time to think. And then they scare you. There's that whole fear tactic of you shouldn't read any other literature. You shouldn't go online. And so people are honestly afraid to do that. And so there's a lot of different things that come up that people have questioned that have led them out. And so if what you're going to share with us tonight, I'm sure there are many other people out there that have questioned those same things.
Yes. Shelley, she mentioned that she was afraid being struck by lightning if she would go online. Well, I didn't have that at all because I heard things and I already saw some things on YouTube, and I wasn't that scared for that. And I saw the Australian Royal Commission, Jeffrey Jackson, the member of the governing nobody, lying.
I like how you put all these little, you change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Used to be Octopo, but they're 9 now, so I hope they don't have 9 lives, though. So I didn't feel guilty at all about researching, because I heard a lot of problems and trouble that my friend went through with the elders who terrorized her and said they didn't believe her because she was anointed. Well, of course. They said they say now that they have mental issues, the ones who feel anointed now. But yes, I asked some brothers and sisters to tell me their reasons how they got out. So we have Laurie James's the clarified beliefs, and they actually told me that in Pioneer School as well. And I just thought, oh, I can help brothers and sisters with this. So I didn't see any red flags until 2020. So there's Mary Ann. She's from California. It was during the presidential elections from last time, and Donald Trump was still president then. And she said the food boxes woke her up. So the brothers from the Watchtower, they said they would provide food boxes for all the brothers and sisters in all the congregations. And because there were also many brothers and sisters who were not able to work anymore. And she thought it was so wonderful. And they also got instructed on going online for electronic donations to Watchtower, so they could show their appreciation to Jehovah for the food boxes. And then
So just
later,
a second, let's clarify what these food boxes are. This is what the government gave to nonprofits, right? To
yes,
churches.
but they didn't. Watchtower didn't say it was from the
They
government.
didn't tell them. So now their people are
They said
thinking
it was
that these
from the
food
brothers.
boxes, the organization's providing them.
Yes,
And they want you to donate money for them.
yes. Well, that's what
Okay.
what it was all about. Because now you can donate money electronically through the internet automatically. And so later on in that year, she thought it must have been 2020. Donald Trump said that he had provided the food boxes because it was an election year, of course. And he talked about that letter that he had put in it, that it was from him. And later on, she actually got a box with the letter in it. So that woke her up.
So they took all the letters out and then repackaged it and gave it out to the witnesses.
Yes. How awful is that? So they lied to the brothers and well.
So when she saw that, that was her wake-up call.
Yes. And she also, she's a nurse by profession. And she didn't get vaccinated because she she knew they were dangerous. Didn't understand why Watchtower would promote it. So yeah, that woke her up. She was really, really upset by that. And she said, why can't they just be honest? But that's just the whole culture of Watchtower. They're not honest. They're very devious and I think demonic. Yes, so she was against the vaccine. Oh, and another thing was that, as she said, the elderly brothers and sisters who did not have internet, they were just shut out in her congregation. So my aunt and uncle, they did not have internet, but the brothers said, well, we're going on the internet now. So they helped them set up the internet, and they bought a laptop. And my aunt, she was getting nauseous when she was going to the meeting. She never had that before. But for the past 10 years, she didn't know what was going on. And my uncle said, something's wrong. And he had some tasks, walking with the microphone, for instance, and praying sometimes. And suddenly he wasn't asked for anything anymore. And he didn't know why, because brothers don't tell you why. But he talked to the brothers because the prayers changed. Like 20 years ago, they always prayed in Jesus' name, and they started that at the beginning of the prayers. But in the latter years, in Holland, they said it at the end of every prayer. And he said, well, but Jesus is a mediator, right? And he went to some brothers, the elders, and, well, they didn't see the necessity of that. But yeah, now I know, because they don't see Jesus as the mediator for the other sheep, right? And that was a big shock for me too, because I found out that in 2021 in February, that Jesus is not a mediator. And
but now Jehovah's Witnesses, a lot of them, when I talked to someone, I was down in Tulsa that were out at a park. Oh yeah, Jesus is our mediator.
yes.
And I think Laureen used to ask them that in the cars too when you'd go out. And they, oh yeah, we are. But that's not what the Watchtower says.
Yeah, it's only for anointed. So when Laurie Jane was in the car, she asked brothers and sisters, Jesus was the mediator, and
Mhm.
they said, yes, of course he's a mediator. He said, I didn't know you were anointed.
Right. Yeah.
But it's every Jehovah's Witness says, oh no, Jesus is my mediator. That's what I thought. But it's not the official teaching. What they say is Jesus, by law, is the mediator of the 144,000 anointed ones. But you, as another sheep, you need his services as a mediator. So they're very tricky. So I'll go on. I have Shirley in England. She woke up because of the Watchtower taking over the Kingdom Halls.
Hmm. Will you explain to those of us who don't know how the Kingdom Hall operates? Like, I know it's the brothers who build it, so it's free labor.
Yes, the brothers and sisters, they pay the mortgage, and a lot of volunteers. They build the Kingdom Halls, and but Watchtower said, well, we're going to take over all the mortgages, and we'll pay for repairs when they're needed. But most of them were already almost fully paid, the mortgages, and they just actually we just gave them the property. Oh, I thought you froze. No, it didn't.
Nope, you're good.
And but as she explained, so the Watchtower became the owner of the Kingdom Halls worldwide. But they said you still have to donate the money that you used to give for the mortgage. And then Shirley said, you own them now, and you have to donate the same amount of money, and that's paying rent. And then the elder said, oh, are you doubting Jehovah? Let me see, what does it say?
They always turn it that way. It's you're doubting Jehovah,
Yes.
you're leaving Jehovah, and nothing to do with them in the organization.
Right. So, and she also heard that the elders were the trustees, and if they didn't sign it all over to the Watchtower, the elders would be, put out of what's it called, eldership.
Well, they won't be an elder anymore.
Be elders anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was new to me. So Shirley said the donation, no, that's rent. Oh, what they said was, are you questioning Jehovah? And then she said, well, don't you dare go there. So Shirley said, I woke up in a minute. And she said, no, I'm never going back. And she didn't.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And she is 72 years old.
And see, that's what's really interesting too, Diana. I'm glad you shared how old she is, because a lot of people, as they get older, they say, oh, well, I'm just, stuck in I'm just, this is what I've always done. I'm just going to keep doing it. And it's harder, what am I going to do? Because that's what the organization tells you. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? We're the only ones, and, there's no place else for you. And so people are doubting their salvation. They're doubting their belief in Jehovah at all. And it's really scary for someone that age. You've been in there your whole life, and now what are you going to do?
Yeah, but the question is who to go to.
Right.
So Jesus says he's the truth and the way in life.
Mm-hmm. He is. That's where you got to go. That's what Lorene always encourages people. Get in the scriptures, read the New Testament. Just go
Yeah,
through it. Let him talk to you rather than videos, books, whatever. Start there.
yes. And after I woke up, John 8 verse 32 is very important to me.
John 8:32, did you say?
Yes. Oh, it's gone.
You gonna read it in Dutch or English?
Shall I read it in English?
That'd be nice. Most of us here probably speak English better than Dutch.
Or I could read it in Dutch and you can read it in English.
Except for I don't know what KOG.
Yes, that's what Jesus says. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free, or set you free.
Mm.
And then, yes, well, freedom from what? It's really spiritual slavery to so-called truth against the truth of our Father and Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being freed from human slavery.
Mm.
And Shelley mentioned.
Yes. Before you go on to the next one, I just want to read a few things that are in the chat here.
Right.
You mentioned the boxes, and Lorene says the churches were supposed to hand them out to the community too, not just their own congregation. For those in need, they were. And Linda says that some of the letters were left in the boxes. It makes her wonder if there have been some PMOs that were packing them. So people that were physically still in the church, but mentally out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then Tom made a comment. The excommunication shunning by the Catholic Church was condemned by the Watchtower in writing in 1948. And then in 52, they've been practicing it.
Yes.
So that's pretty hypocritical there. Diane also said she was very surprised to find that Jesus was the only mediator, or he was the mediator for the other sheep, or not the mediator by the Watchtower. Yeah, so people in there don't even realize that. I don't know if you know or anybody knows. The question's been asked if per capita the Watchtower has caused more types of abuse than the Catholic Church. They're both probably up there. A lot of abuse going on in both of them. And Linda said again, the halls are in a Kingdom Hall trust now. All the real estate scam, as Tom and Tilly said. And Laureen made a good comment here. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So just because the organization is that bad, you don't need to go atheist or anything else, or even Trinitarian, because they were wrong in one thing, so they must be wrong about everything else. No, get in the scriptures, read, and see what God has to say there without the organization. And Diane says it's not where we will go, but to whom, and that is Jesus. So exactly. And Linda thinks that spiritual slavery, that was very well borrowed or worded. And Lorene says that they borrowed excommunication from the Catholics and then they perfected it, which is unfortunate. So just wanted to keep up with some of those comments before we continue on. And go ahead now. You were going to mention Shelley now a little bit and her
stuff. Yes. Well, Shelley mentioned 2 Peter, 2 Peter, and yesterday about falsehood, false teachers coming from within, right? They're not, false teachers are not out of Watchtower, they're within. And I have 2 Corinthians 11 verse 20 here. And it says, I put that at John 8 verse 32. It says, for you are content when someone makes you his slaves, uses up your money, makes you work for him, boasts about himself and hits you in the face with his words.
Hmm.
It's exactly Watchtower.
Hmm.
Yep. 2 Corinthians 11, verse 20.
Wow.
Where was I?
You were sharing about Shelley, and I'm not sure where you were going after that.
Oh, yes, I had Marianne and Shirley. There's a brother in Australia, one of our brothers in Australia. I'll call him Paul. And he wrote me, let me see, about how he's waking up. So he says, my uncle at the time was having doubts after reading all the old publications of Rutherford. So he stopped attending meetings, and in trying to help him come back, he asked me to first read these old publications, and then we could discuss coming back. So I gave myself permission to read them, especially the book of Jehovah's Witnesses and the Divine Purpose. I read the whole book and realized that what they taught about 1914 was not what they teach today. In fact, I discovered for the first time that they taught 1874 was the invisible return of Jesus. I never knew the history of the society, nor the change in doctrine of time. This discovery led me down a rabbit hole where I began researching 1914, 1918, the first resurrection. I came to understand that the Bible at 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 12 to 17, that the holy ones would be resurrected simultaneously as a corporate body, not one at a time, like Watchtower teaches, over 100 years. And he researched the year 607 and found on the internet the gentle time, reconsidered and read it. And then I read Ray Francis' book and continue my study of the Bible until I realized 1914 was bogus. And so it was impossible that Jesus had returned in 1914 and examined all the religions on earth over a 3-year period. By 1918, had selected the Watchtower Society as the true church. Once the date crumbled, so did their authority, and that was proof that they were not his channel.
So by looking at the history, that people just trust what's out there now, and you can go back and find in their own material. It's not somebody else.
Yes, and Watchtower said, if you have any old books or old literature, send them to Watchtower, because they want to make a sort of museum. Yeah, I'll just throw everything what's old, throw it away, because everything's electronic now, and the brothers and sisters don't need the old literature anymore, because that's where they hide all the evidence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or behind some glass so you can look at it, but not a library so
Yes.
you can read it.
You can't even read in it anymore.
No.
Then we have a brother from Italy, Massi. He recently did an interview with this guy from Marine Pickets, Eric. What's his name? Eric Wilson. I put it on Laurie's website. So he says the way the Watchtower organization approached the issue of vaccines made me question whether it was God's channel, as it claims. Even if with an appearance of free choice, he influenced the brothers' choice in favor of vaccines, not taking into account that questions of conscience could be involved in relation to how some vaccines are made. In fact, some vaccines are processed in embryonic cells obtained from induced abortions. This prompted me to write a letter to the governing body, governing nobody, explaining my concerns. Subsequently, I received a visit from 3 elders, 2 from the health committee, who admitted that some vaccines are processed in this way, but advised me not to talk to the brothers, not to talk to anyone in the congregation. Furthermore, some brothers in my congregation were denied the appointments because, like me, they were not in favor to get vaccinated. These facts prompted me to reevaluate the organization's claim to be. Oh, wait a minute. I lost it. Oh.
So again, they're being hypocritical. They say one time you can do this, you can't do that, and then they switch it. You should do this, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, things like the vaccines, vaccinations. They used to say it's no to that, and then they said it's for your own conscience. But now they were really promoting it, and well, Masi, that shook him, and let's see. Oh yes, he said these facts prompted me to reevaluate the organization's claim to be God's channel, and I began to see and read so-called apostate information.
Mm-hmm.
So he also read Rolf Furuli's book, My Beloved Religion, and he realized that the illustration of the faithful and wise slave mentioned in Matthew 24:25 is in effect an illustration and not a prophecy describing the role of the governing body. He read Raymond Francis' book, Crisis of Conscience and Christian Freedom, and he realized that the organization is a cult.
Right.
So, and he says, thanks to Laurie Jane's videos, he also met me and with the Exodus group. It was a real help in finding people who gave him support in a spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he has a family, and they're still in the Watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there are
How
different.
many more do you have there to share, Diana? We have about 10 minutes left here.
Well, my aunt and uncle. Well, they woke up after seeing some videos that I could finally show them because they have internet.
Mm-hmm.
And they, they saw Tony Morris buying for almost $1,000 on liquor, and there was videos about expensive watches that the governing body carries, and then the many pedophiles who are being protected, and shares and the profits from weapon factories and all that. Diane B. She saw what woke her up was the bunker video that's about Jehovah's Witnesses who are together hiding because they're all going to get rounded up by the police or the military to be prosecuted.
What was the purpose of that video?
To
Like,
scare
what did the Watchtower want to communicate to you?
the bunker video is about just before Armageddon hits. It's fear mongering, basically. And she showed me an old tract about a talk that Rutherford gave, and it also said that at that time in the 30s it were the darkest hours of this world, right before a beautiful paradise would come. So it's exactly the same when she was a child, and that woke Diane up. And then Goma and Peppa, they were not ever baptized, but one thing that woke up Goma was that a sister that she had Bible study from, they said that the governing body is the mediator.
Mm.
That shook her. And that the sisters were not allowed to wear trousers. And Peppa, she was also never baptized, but she did a lot of preaching with them, got Bible study through the years. And actually, she said, you and Lottie Jane, you woke me up on that first SNL meeting. And Lottie Jane said, because she was defending the witnesses and some other issues. And Lottie Jane said, that's cognitive dissonance. He said, what's cognitive dissonance? And she researched it. And she said, you really woke me up at that meeting.
That's great. Yes.
Yes, and they were not Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Renee. So there was a Watchtower in April 2021, and it was called, Do You Trust Jehovah's Way of Doing Things? And she read in there was one paragraph, one sentence that said, are the elders inspired? And it said, no. And she said, it was like a light bulb hit me. And they never went back.
Mm-hmm.
So
go
there's
ahead.
A lot of things that could wake up someone.
Mm-hmm. And on the website, simplychristian.faith, that's where people can find links to sign up to get information on the Exodus meeting, where they can come on Saturday evening to Saturday Night Live fellowship, where we discuss some Bible and just encourage each other. And some people stay on like Diana till all hours of the night, just talking afterwards. So I didn't feel so bad asking you to stay up tonight, because I know how late you stay up normally on Saturday.
Yes.
But there's a lot of really good information there. People can see some of the research. There's a lot of videos that you've posted and that Lorraine's posted, and articles, and a lot of good things you can check out over there on simplychristian.faith. You can also sign up for our Tuesday or Wednesday women's Bible study there if you'd like. What else do you have to share, Diana? We have a couple minutes here left.
Oh, even kijken hoor.
Dan and Sharon say thanks so much for doing this. Dan spoke the other night. It was a blessing from 21st Century Reformation.
Who was that?
Dan and Sharon Gill.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions from the?
No other questions right now. Do you have anything else to share? Any last stories, or maybe just share a few things that people end up having to give up or lose when they come out?
Well, when I started waking up, I knew I would leave, and I knew I would lose everyone, and I thought I would be so sad, and that never happened. So
Mm-hmm.
I wake up happy every day.
Praise the Lord. You make a lot of other people happy too, just like Sharon here. She's happy to get to know you better. Thank you.
Sharon, oh, I love Sharon too. Oh, there's one thing. Tom and Tilly.
Mm-hmm. They're wonderful.
Oh, yes. And I call Tilly my mom.
Ah, sweet.
What I remember that Tom started sort of working on Tilly, and he said that they never talk about Jesus. And Tilly said, "Oh, don't be stupid. Of course they talk about Jesus." And she started listening to the talks, and she said, "You're right. It's only about Jehovah, 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 Jehovah." And so, yeah. But I'm so happy that Justin's out as well, and he
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diana. It's interesting hearing stories, and we thank you, Diane, for sharing, and it's a blessing. I'm glad you live. You're probably one of the closest sisters that lives to me in Wisconsin. We got to get together now that things are going to wind down after the conference and my daughter's wedding and everything. I look forward to seeing you again, and thank you for being such a blessing.
Oh, there's one thing that Diane told me. We had a talk this evening, actually.
Okay.
So I remember that her mother once told her, if your hair goes gray, then there's something wrong. Because she said you will never grow old. That's what she
Right.
said to Diane. And Diane's in her 60s now, so.
So Laureen shared here, Diana does so much for the simplychristian.faith website and organizing for Saturday Night Live meetings. You are truly a blessing, and you found your own ministry that has blessed her personally, and I know a lot of other people as well. So thank you for all you do for so many people, Diana. And if you want to hang out with Diana, get in touch with for the Exodus meetings or on Saturday, come join us and hang out with her there as well. Do you have any last words you'd like to share with the people that are listening now or maybe at the recording?
Well, I love my new brothers and sisters. I love the old ones too, but yeah, I really love everyone here, all the new spiritual brothers and sisters, and it's Christian freedom. You know, we don't have to always agree on the same things, but I mean, I don't. And that's Christian freedom too. And no one has the real truth, right? So and only Spirit can teach us.
We just have to keep seeking. We have to keep seeking.
Yes. And there's a verse in Revelation 17:17 with things that will happen in the future, and it says, wait, I'm gonna say it from my Dutch version. I'll translate my Dutch version.
Okay.
It's Revelation 17:17. I don't know if it's verse 17 in all Bibles, but it says, for God has given them the desire to work together and to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of God come to pass. In doing so, they unknowingly fulfill God's plan. So whatever happens in the future, our Father is on top of it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing with us tonight, and thank you for all you do. You don't look like you're tired. You'll probably be up in another couple hours.
My cousin did my makeup.
Okay,
No, but I slept for a few hours.
so you're rested up.
Yes.
Well, thank you for getting up, not staying asleep. I was hoping you didn't doze off, but I appreciate you, Diana. I love you, and thank you for all that you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the near future again.
You will.
Oh, good. Thank you, Diana. Take care.
Love you all.
Love you too. Bye-bye.